Hello, and welcome back to another version of Girls Talk 9.0, where we openly, blatantly, and sometimes hilariously give our view on the topic du jour. Today, we're going to review the 2023 film The Boogeyman, directed by Bob Savage.
Rob.
My name, Rob Savage. Is that short for Bob? Rob, Bob? No, Rob is Robert. Who
He
knows?
goes by
I
Rob.
never
He goes by
understand with
Rob.
those.
Yeah.
Rob Savage. All right. My name is Whaley Hollow, and with me today is Sunchild. What's up?
What up?
Getting ready for the holiday season?
So happy to be here with you.
Awesome sauce. And we also have Bob Gal. How you doing?
I'm
So do
good.
you
How are
have your
you?
laundry list of questions for us today? Your
Um,
notebook? The infamous notebook? There it is. Whoop, there
there it
it is.
is.
All right, right, right. You just
The
you put up the
efficient,
same sheets every
the
time.
efficient one. I could be. Let me just hold up something. I can hold up something
There
too.
you go. There you go.
Just blank sheets.
That's it. That's it. Because it looks blurry to us
Right.
anyway.
Exactly. Exactly.
But anyway, thank you guys for joining us. So, like I said, we're going to be talking about the 2023 film, The Boogeyman. So, if you have not seen the film, I recommend that you stop here because we will be talking about the beginning, the middle, and the end, and we don't want to spoil it for you. So, but we would like to, hear your view and see if you agree with us. So, come back and join us once you've done that. So, without further ado, how about we start with you, Sunchild?
I feel like we always start with me. You introduce us, so you never start. I think you should start.
I talk too much. Okay, I'll stop. I'll
Yeah.
start on this one. So, and I didn't say what the film is about, but basically we find ourselves with a family who recently lost their mom in a car accident, and their dad is a therapist, and he gets an unexpected guest who uh, tells him his story. And it seems like after he's told his story, the things that happened to that particular person is now happening to the therapist's family. And it seemed to only impact children. So I thought the film was, I tell you what, I really, really liked Sawyer, the little girl. I thought she did a phenomenal job. Where are these child actors and actresses coming from? They are phenomenal. Like, I don't know if it's because they're innocent, but everything they do just seems so pure and realistic. So I absolutely loved her. Um, it's funny that this is a Rob Savage film. Is it Rob or Bob? What did you say?
Rob.
Rob. Rob, yeah, Rob Savage film because I believe he also did Host that we did last time, right?
I think so. Oh, oh,
Right?
okay.
Wasn't that's the
Yes,
reason why we
yes.
kind of
Was
chose
it
this.
Rob? Was it? Okay, yeah, maybe. All right, yeah.
And
I'll
I
Google
thought it
it
was
for you.
interesting that this one is also about an entity, right? So it kind of brings, how I feel about this entity thing. And later we can talk about this. But my question is, how does the entity get at everybody's house at the same time, the same one? So we can kind of dig deeper into that because inquiring minds want to know. But I did like the film. It
Right.
probably wasn't my favorite, but I do think there was definitely some scares in it. There were definitely some good parts about it. I felt that the best acting was actually the children and the young adults. I wasn't as thrilled with the older actors myself, but it was okay. I'm not going to give it a score yet. Maybe we talk it through, and you guys can enlighten me, and I'll have a different view. But I thought it was it definitely had a story, and it definitely kept you moving through the steps and to the ending, the climax at the end, if you will. That's probably all. Yeah, that's all I'll share with this one. Who wants to go next?
I'll go. Um, so I enjoyed it. I did. Um, I think with you what you said, the child acting was great. I mean, even the teenagers I thought really good and realistic, being that teenagers can be pretty mean and gruesome. I mean, I don't know that I would want to see, where the man hung himself, but whatever. But I could see that,
And
kids,
I didn't have any friends growing up who would have wanted to see that either. So I think that kept good company.
yeah, for
Right,
sure,
Sunchild? Right, Sunchild?
for sure. for sure. I feel like though it goes along with like today's society being so desensitized because all the like video games with murder and killing and unfortunately all the things that have happened in schools and other places, people are just desensitized. Like nothing is shocking anymore. I mean, to hear like a shooting or something, and when I was a teenager, like shooting was almost unheard of, and stabbing was more likely, but still shocking. Like people fought. So and so got their behind kicked, and that was it. But I digress on that part. I think it got a little long, like longer than I don't know. There was like some draggy parts. I love the monster. I thought the CGI was great. I love that you couldn't really, see him. He was in the dark, and then when you could see him, they didn't. They showed like just enough of him, but you could tell he was enormous and he was scary. I did like the plot. I thought the storyline was good. I like that it wasn't just like it had like a purpose. The main character. I'm so bad with names. Went to the woman's house where her children were taken by killed by the right. I like that. My husband ended up looking and he was like, so it's her, is she crazy? And I'm like, no, she's not crazy, but people probably think she is. But she believes it. And for an adult to believe in the boogeyman, as you can see, their father did not. I liked it. It was a good story. I could see her, because she believed it, because she knew it to be true, never leaving her house and having this become her obsession. And until the end, when the father believed it, the father had to like see it to believe it. But I cried. Yeah, I cried when she wanted the lighter to flicker for her mom. Like certain things in the movie definitely I felt brought like a little drama to it. There was a little comic like stuff in there. It was definitely a horror movie, but I did like that he brought a storyline into it. And I did love the ending because I think it leaves opening for part 2. I thought that was good. I don't know if I.
Okay, I'm sorry.
No, it was like I don't know if I said, if I really talked about the movie as much as I talked about what I liked about it. But I mean, if you've seen it, you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Well, I have
the notes.
Literally 8 pages of front and back notes on this movie.
8 pages.
I'm going to start with the good because I actually think it was a decent movie. I agree. I thought the acting was very strong across the board, except for maybe the father. But the acting was good. I love the story as well. And when at the end of the movie, I noticed that it was based on a book by Stephen King, a short story by Stephen King.
I saw that.
So that made sense because Stephen King is the GOAT.
He is.
He's the GOAT. So I was like, that's why the story was so compelling. I thought the CGI was not bad. I like that the boogeyman looked different than what we normally see in movies. I feel like a lot of times the monster looks the same. I didn't think he looked like what I thought a boogeyman was supposed to look like, but it was really just, but it looked good. I loved the voices and the sounds, like, the monster voices and sounds in the closet. That was creepy and scary.
Very scary.
Yeah.
And I also liked that the ending pulled it back together with her mom, the loss of her mom in the flame. So there was a lot about it I did like. But let me just go into why I had to stop the movie 10 times in the first 15 minutes. So these are my random thoughts, and please jump in. But the first thing I wrote on this piece of paper is, why don't people turn on lights? I mean,
listen, you got a candle, but you can't turn the light on. I'm done.
I was the same.
Maybe they're not paying their electric bill. I don't know.
I have that in my notes too. I question that too. I'm like, okay, nobody's paying their rent.
Yeah.
And then why did one of the students, and these are random thoughts, these have nothing to do with whether I like the movie or not, but these are my first random thoughts. Why did one of the students look like the principal?
Girl, I was gonna say that. I forgot. Yes, that's not your friend. That's your guidance counselor. She's not your BFF. She's your guidance counselor. Who are you kidding?
Yeah,
She walked
she
up
stayed
to
back a couple of times for
And
sure. She definitely stayed back. Like she
she was long
started
before No
started
Child
in the
Left
middle of
Behind.
the year. Started in the middle of the year and stayed back a couple of times. Yeah,
Oh my God.
she definitely didn't really like fit in age
She did
wise.
not look like a student.
She didn't.
That's why that was my first question the other day, in high school or college? Because
Or
college I could
postgraduate
see
school.
something. She could have been a graduate
I
student,
mean,
but
as
no, I
old as
think
she
they
was
went high
looking
school.
now.
Yeah,
She was a teacher. We all know. He was
Then the other
yeah.
thing I
She just
wrote was, did they
kids. Yeah,
just open this movie with the baby dying?
that's why.
yeah. That kind of took me back because that doesn't usually happen. And
I had to,
Wait,
I did see it in the theater when it came out, and I was like, see how desensitized we've gotten that they just like that probably wouldn't have happened before, but now
is
they're just like
is Rob
off.
Savage Canadian?
I don't
I think he's
think
English.
He's English.
I was
Okay, because that
extremely
might explain it, right? American
yeah.
movies don't
Well, yeah,
typically do stuff like that. Other cultures are like, "Yeah, that shit happens." You know what I mean? They're like, we're gonna keep it real. I'm your daddy. Boom. I
I
was
was
like, oh my God.
yeah,
Oh
he's
my
English.
gosh.
I was very surprised to find out how young he is. He
He
was
was
born
born in 92.
Wow.
He's a baby.
a baby. Yeah, he's a baby. He wrote his first film when he was 19.
I
Wow.
mean,
Good for
the
him.
dude is
Kudos.
talented
Kudos
Oh,
to
beyond
him.
yeah,
question.
Yeah,
So
kudos.
talented.
imagination, and he definitely, I mean, I think he's picking much better actors for horror movies. I think he's kind of like upgraded the genre. I really think that his movies, they have a plot, you know, they have better acting, and they don't have like the typical, boobs flying everywhere and sex scenes. Like he really just sticks to like a plot and the core stuff. He doesn't have
Yeah,
to throw like the sexuality
right,
aspect in it, which I really
right.
like. There's like comedy and drama in other movies for that. Like at least he's sticking to, I love that they weren't like, there's some boy that I'm chasing around, so I'm not really focused on what's happening. I love that she was mature and
Yeah.
probably pain. I mean, adolescence is tough enough as it is, but losing her mom and now her sister going through all these, things and believe it, not believe it. I found it to be very like compassionate and humanizing. I really liked it. I did. I liked it.
So you know what else? Now that you're bringing up random thoughts, what I thought about was, where the heck is his house, right? Because they left the school to get a ride to that lady's house with it. What was the guy's name? Billings? Was that his last name?
Lester Billings, yeah.
Lester. Yeah, to the Billings home, right? They got a ride to get there, and then they end up in the hospital. Yet she could run to the Billings house, and then she could run from the Billings house to her house. I'm like, are they all on the same block? Like, what was the, why did they need the car from the jump? Because you notice they got the car to school, but everything else was like in running distance.
Good
She might have
question.
got
Good
somebody to come
question.
with her. She might have just said, I need a ride because I don't want to go by myself. Like maybe she just, as opposed to saying,
Seemed
walk
too
with me over there.
close.
I mean, I don't
Yeah,
know.
good question. Good question.
Definitely a valid question. Yeah. Yeah, I think little details that we pick apart probably most people don't think of, but yeah, good question.
Listen, I have 8 pages.
Oh,
I know I'm a very picky person when it comes to watching a movie because I love movies, right?
yeah,
And I've seen really good movies, so I know it's possible to make really good movies. And not that this wasn't a good movie, like I said, I think it was,
And I
but
don't
there's
think it
so
takes away from the movie. It's a good opportunity for maybe the director or someone to get feedback that they might not be getting.
yes,
You know
I
what I
think
mean?
so. I think
Yeah.
so.
yeah. Not
Um,
that we think about those other things and speak on those other things that maybe, he maybe wasn't thought about at the time. But yeah, I like it.
or they probably were thought about, but they probably, I understand filmmaking, it's a compromise, right? The
Right. It
director
sure is.
doesn't have carte blanche. He's got producers he has to
Right.
satisfy. You know,
Yep.
he might have nothing to do with casting. The casting director may have the control over that. So these are just my feedback to the whole film.
Yeah, I like
It's
it.
just from my little, you know, as an avid horror movie fan, you know, I'm not going to give everything A's. I gotta, you know, I gotta be, I
Oh,
want to
yeah.
give my opinion about stuff. So, but I'm glad that it's, as I'm going through, it's sparking you guys to remember things about the
Oh,
movie.
absolutely, absolutely.
So I'm going to keep going down my list. I'll try to
Yeah.
move fast, but when Lester Billings showed up at the house, I mean,
Is their house.
at their house, yes. And he was telling his story. Well, I'm gonna get into Lester Billings in a minute, but when he was telling his story, he said the first baby died of SIDS. And again, nobody else cares about this kind of stuff. This is why we have this podcast. It's my chance to be random.
Yeah.
But you don't have blood splatter from SIDS.
No, yeah, I don't know what that was all about. When
So
he
when
said
he
the
was
blood,
telling
I'm
the
like, well,
story,
something else.
I
So
thought to
weird.
myself initially, well, is he lying? Because I was thinking, no, that is not SIDS. But then as the movie went on, I realized, okay, you know, he didn't kill his kids. But I was like, why was there blood splatter? Who walks in the room and sees blood splattered on pictures and thinks my baby died of SIDS?
Right.
And is he
Nobody.
just think he was just saying what's easy for us to digest, right? He couldn't say I think my baby was killed by a monster. He eventually kind of
But he actually said that the second sentence. So yeah, he could say that. But he could have just said, my baby died under mysterious circumstances. It was just strange. Again,
maybe he said what they listed, like maybe they were like, well, you know, he didn't get into the whole story. Maybe they were like under investigation, clear the parents, and then they were like, well, we'll just put, you know, like SIDS, like unknown causes, which I feel like is what they label a lot of SIDS, because they don't know. Sudden infant death syndrome is what it is. Sudden
100%. But if you see blood, you can say unknown. And you can, because he was under investigation for murdering his children.
Right. And she said he must be hungry. The monster must be hungry. So at some, like he had to take like a bite or something out of the child, right? I would think.
Yeah.
The wife in the house, when she had the shotgun, she was like, he must be getting hungry again. So I was like, well, maybe I don't know if he's eating them, is he drinking the blood? I'm not sure what exactly the monster is doing. And it's obviously.
Yeah, I don't know either. But his whole that whole scene was what also kind of just started me on let me get my pen and paper because I got to take notes. First of all, I don't care where you live. Somebody random shows up at your doorstep. Oh yeah, come on in, sit down. And better yet, I'm not turning on any lights. Let's talk in the dark.
Again,
and he starts telling you, okay, sorry, go ahead.
I was gonna say, not only that, if you think the guy is creepy, you don't go into your kitchen with your back to this person talking about, I'm at the sidewalk, you know what I mean, with my slingshot, whatever, on the phone. I am not in my kitchen when I think the guy is creepy.
Right. Beyond creepy. Okay, so now I
and
like
this
it. Okay,
is your home.
You guys had 8 pages of notes too. You just didn't write them down.
Yeah, just didn't write them down. But to the kitchen, that's your home.
Yeah,
exactly. And he didn't just say creepy. He said to the police, I think he's dangerous. So here you are in your house, a dangerous man. Your daughters are off in the rest of the house, and the house is
the worst parent.
The worst. The house is the size of a high school. It's so big.
Yeah,
and you're off in the kitchen, putting your back towards them.
Exactly. What is wrong with you?
Yeah, that part made no sense. He didn't know the daughter came home though. Remember, she left.
But
so he didn't know.
Both of the daughters were in the home though.
But did he know that? Well, the little one was.
He may not have known the older one was in the home, but he knew the younger one was in the home, right?
I think at some point we knew they were home.
Maybe not. Okay, maybe he didn't know. I'll go with he didn't know that the
school first. Wasn't she in the back trying to pull the tooth out? And
that was much later. That was much later.
Later.
Yeah. But listen, I'll give it to him. Maybe he did not know his daughters were in the home. I would say
matter. He was in the home.
Even if you didn't know, why would you act that way?
Why would you have back facing?
Exactly.
Yeah. Think like
I would be facing you, knife in hand, and on the phone. Actually, I wouldn't even be in the house. If you're dangerous, I'm out.
He was
never to be in the house.
You're out.
You wouldn't be in.
I'll talk
but if
to
I
you
was
on
dumb
the
enough to let you in, then I have to get out.
Yeah.
I would exactly. That
Gotta-
part just set me off on the wrong
Yep.
tone.
Right. Yeah, he was trying to whisper, but having his back towards the. But
Who
so I
does
feel
that?
so was telling somebody else like what brought the monster to you. Like I don't want to hold this
Listen,
secret anymore. So if I tell you, it's kind of like The Ring or that other movie when like you have to pass it along to get rid of it yourself. I kind of
I
took
remember that's my pet peeve, right? This whole thing about this entity, and it showed up in three places at the same time, three different places at the same time. Like, how does that happen? Like, what is it? And
you
it
got to
manifested itself into something tangible. So how
right.
is that possible?
I couldn't agree with you more. As he was telling the story and he was talking about the first baby and the second baby, I would have been like, let me just stop you right there. I don't need to hear
Yeah.
anymore.
You don't have an
There's nothing I can
appointment.
do for you. Exactly. Bye-bye.
Yeah.
That's over. That's above my pay grade. Let me find
Exactly.
somebody who can help.
Exactly.
I'm not sitting there talking about all your babies dying. Like, I just am not doing it. Then when he said to the guy, I don't know who else to go to. I can't go to the priest because I'm not Catholic.
You know
Motherfucker.
what?
Is that the only religion? So you can't go talk to a minister, a
Right.
priest? You know, I can't go to a priest because I'm Catholic, so I'm out of ideas. What?
Yeah, I don't even know what that meant.
I didn't know what that meant either. But at
Yeah.
that point, I was like,
Yeah.
get out of my office.
Exactly,
Get
Rudolph.
out of my office.
Exactly, Rudolph.
Then he said, I came here to talk to you because I saw that you lost your wife, so you know what it's like to lose someone you love.
That's so weird.
Literally 2 minutes later, not even 2 minutes later, literally 60 seconds later, as the guy says, yeah, that's tough. And that is, he's saying, I feel so bad that you lost your children. The guy says, he says, I can't imagine how difficult it must be to lose your children. Then Lester turns on him, literally 2 minutes after saying, I came to you because your wife died. Then he says, you can't because you have children. Does that make sense?
I thought he said you can because you have children.
Can't because you have children.
Oh, I thought he said you can because you
No,
have.
he went to him and said, I went to you because your wife died, so you can relate to my pain. And then when the guy said, oh, I can't even imagine what it's like having your child die, he said, no, you can't. You can't imagine. It's like, well, why did you come to him? Why did you go to him? It made no sense. All right, let me just go through my list because I know some of this is like, this is just random stuff, but it definitely took me out of it. Oh yeah, no, we already hit on he ran in the office to call the police, which made no sense. Then when the daughter saw mold on the ceiling in her bedroom, she said nothing to anybody. And I'm like, okay, well, one strange thing happening in the house is one strange thing happening in the house, right?
Right.
Two strange things happening in the house, three strange things happening in the house. Wake up. When, like, I felt like, and this is where I kind of depart from, I thought the acting was great, but those kids were like zombies in this movie to me.
Oh, yeah.
When I say that, I mean, they were so detached, so, the family was so dysfunctional. They were so disinterested.
Right.
Your mother just died. Somebody just killed themselves in your house and they're walking around like they're in a fog.
Right.
I just didn't understand it. There was no emotion. There was
none.
no
And they were like, I'd be glued. The fact that he continually, first of all, listen, I do not agree with people who shut the doors of their children's room. I just don't believe that. I just don't think
that never would happen when we were
know what I
growing
mean? But it happens. This girl's got Christmas lights. She's got a glow ball, which I thought was really cool. She's got lights everywhere. She is paranoid of the dark. What does the dad do? Go to sleep and shut the door on her in this mansion. Are you kidding me? The girl's afraid of the dark. She should be sleeping at the bottom of your bed. Like,
I can check off one more thing on my list because that's what I was going to hit on next.
Like, I don't understand. He didn't care.
I would have called CPS on that father.
Yeah,
he was so neglectful, mean, almost mean-spirited.
Yeah, he was.
I think they wanted you to believe that he may have been going through his own stuff.
Right.
That's the only reason.
I'm not giving him that as an excuse. And the reason I won't give that to him as an excuse is because he's a therapist. So
that's what I said.
Average parent, sure, you just lost your wife, you are
What I
traumatized.
said.
But when you throw away your wife's stuff and you don't consult your children, I am not a therapist, and I know that's a no-no.
And
I
when
know
your
it's a
child
no-no when
tells
your
you
children come to you, right, and say
they're
something and you
traumatized,
don't at
yeah,
least validate their feelings.
nope,
I've been to a therapist, and I don't care what you say to a therapist, the first thing they always do is validate your feelings.
Oh yeah.
So the fact that he said, "Oh, you're afraid," he dismissed it. Oh, now she
yep,
thinks there's monsters.
yep,
Yeah, like
yep.
go to the
He
room,
was the
shut up.
worst. He was
and
the
I
worst.
yeah,
But the
he
He was the
daughter was
worst.
the same way.
Which
yeah,
daughter?
Older daughter, and I have it twice, and I gotta pull up my notes. Twice
yeah.
the
The older
little girl
one.
said, yeah.
Oh
One
yeah.
time, yeah.
That's why she apologized so much in the end for not believing and not like what listening to what she was saying. But yeah,
Yeah, I
like
mean, but
you don't want to even share any further when somebody doesn't validate how you feel. You might think it's ridiculous, but if you're listening with your heart and this is someone you care about, you should at least be like, wow, I feel so bad that you feel that way. Like I don't know, where's the empathy?
there was
Especially
none. And
No.
and
zero.
the older sister, when the little girl, when she went to the little girl's room, now the little girl's already been traumatized once, right? Twice. Her mother dies, then she thinks something's in her room. So
Exactly.
then she goes and sits on the little girl's bed. This is the older sister, Sadie. No, what are their names? Sadie and
Sawyer.
Sawyer.
Right.
So Sadie goes and sits on Sawyer's bed, and she says, "Hey, are you feeling okay?" Sawyer says, "Not really." And you know what she says? Go to sleep.
Mm.
So the daughter learned from the father. These people had no empathy. There was no,
Empathy.
that house was so big, and it felt like they could have been living in different states.
Yeah, they
They
were.
didn't communicate.
Yep.
Right.
They didn't seem to love each other. They didn't seem to care about each other. There was nothing.
It's just
So
like put the
that
lime in the
was
coconut and call me in the morning. Like she's like,
for
I'm not
real.
the doctor here.
She
It
Yeah.
was,
literally
yeah.
said, "Okay, go to bed." Um, oh, and then I was gonna say, yeah, so I was talking about the girls being just very weird.
Yeah.
The older daughter, again, just walking around like a zombie. You go into your mother's room, you hear what sounds like people fighting or scuffling in what you know is a closet in your own home. Like if I walked into my own house and it sounds like two people are scuffling and fighting in my closet. I know the size of my closet. I know nobody should be in there. Are you going to pick up a needle
A
and walk towards
pencil?
that
Was it a
closet?
needle? I thought it was a pencil. I would have been gone.
It was a box cutter, but it may as well have been a sewing needle because neither of them were going to help you.
Right, right, right,
So
right. And the room was in chaos. So you know whatever went through that room was angry, right?
yeah.
There's no way. I mean, if I'm going in my kitchen and there's a cup on the floor that I didn't put there, I'm backing out. Like I don't
Out.
need to see all the other chaos to know
No,
something's
I'm
up.
back out.
And you see
Up.
the chaos and you know somebody's still in the room. I'm
Yeah.
sorry.
Right,
I'm sorry,
right.
Sunchild.
Yeah.
Hmm?
No, definitely. You hear a noise, somebody's there. What would make you wanna like approach that?
And
Yeah,
especially
back up.
as a child, maybe if I was a 6'5" male in my own house, yeah, maybe. But to be, a 17-year-old, or I don't know how old these people are, but a young girl, no, there's no way. And it sounded like men to her. She said people arguing, what are you going over there for? Where is your lame ass dad?
I just didn't get it. I
What is
just
he
didn't
doing
understand why
half the
she didn't
movie?
back
Yeah.
up and walk out. Um, Other thing about the daughter, the older daughter, was when she went to Lester's house. First of all, nosy
Broke
as can
in,
be. Mind your
beginning.
business. Mind your
Well, she
business.
went with
She
her
called.
guidance counselor, so she thought it was okay.
The guidance counselor was standing back at the car taking a video, like if something
She knows
happened,
she was
it's
too
gonna be.
old. She
Yeah,
knows
but
she
she's
was
like,
going to prison.
she's like, it's gonna be on World Star. Like she
She
was
was going
really
to
ready
prison
to
because she
take.
was too old.
But
Yeah.
she goes in the house, then she, leaves the message, call me. Then she
Right.
starts to go around. She sees the same mold that she ignored in her house. Now she sees it all over this house. She ignores that too. She
Yep.
sees candles. And
Yep.
once again, does she back out? No, she just keeps going into the house.
That's her nature.
It is her nature. Then she comes home. And then the Lester's widow tells her that the boogeyman is afraid of the dark. No, it can only live in the dark. It can only live in the dark. It's afraid of the light.
Right.
So right there, it should have been the movie
Christmas,
credits should have started to roll.
Ding, ding, ding.
The movie credits should have started to roll because the
'Cause it was
problem
a wrap.
solved. It's a wrap. But instead,
Like, go ahead.
instead, she goes home with that information. Again, her little sister says, "What happened? Is everything okay?" Instead of telling her traumatized little sister,
Right. Right.
she
Did you
goes
see
in her
him?
room
She's
and
saying,
slams
did you
the
see
door
him?
and
Exactly.
never tells anyone about it being afraid of the light. Let me finish. Such that her little sister has to figure it out on her own.
Oh,
and
she already knew. The sister
Well,
knew.
she
That's why her room was like a Christmas tree. Remember, she had every
it
light
was like
on
a Christmas
possible.
tree before the monster. But what
Yeah,
she
so she
realized,
knew whatever it was couldn't live in the light. She
I
already
think
knew that
I
the
mean, she had
boogeyman.
lights on in her room and it ran under the bed. But I think she herself later says at the very end, she has the Christmas lights on her. And the reason she wrapped herself in Christmas lights was because she put 2 and 2 together. But her older sister was never going to save her, was never going to help her out, was never going to tell her how to save herself. I thought that was outrageous. So I was like, okay, there's something wrong with this older sibling.
Communication not good in that family, that's for sure. Like they didn't communication wasn't good in that family. Like they didn't verbalize things. They just expected you to know, maybe just like
gets me
validate feelings.
Yeah. That gets me to back to, we can rag on the dad for like a few more minutes, but
Good.
He was not only the worst father in the planet and the worst therapist, but he sends his daughters to the second worst therapist on the planet. See, you're laughing, right? All these notes, you laugh at my notes, and you have agreed with every single thing I've said.
Because listen, that's why I said the movie was just okay. Like I just couldn't. There's just some things I just couldn't get past, and
let me explain
them all up.
Yes, exactly. Let me explain to the people who are maybe out there watching what I'm talking about. So he can't be bothered talking to his own children. So he sends his children, the therapist, sends his children to a therapist. And the therapist, the little girl confides that she's suddenly afraid of the dark. And what does the therapist do but shut off all the lights?
Yep. And then she's screaming because she sees something in and they're like, you're okay.
You'll be fine. See, if I tell you I'm afraid of worms and you pull out a worm and throw it at me,
it's on like Donkey Kong. It's on like Donkey Kong.
Well, I did love when she started beating up her sister. That was hilarious. She was
about time. Somebody needed to beat up the sister.
Yeah.
What else was there? Oh, and that now that you know that the monster's afraid of light, are you really telling me that you don't know how to find light if the lights go out? I'd have been at Walmart with backup generators. I'd have had flashlights. She didn't even use the light on
flashlight.
She didn't even use the light on her phone.
Especially Especially for a millennial. It's the first thing they would do.
Her and her father, had cell phones on them. They didn't. Everybody uses the flashlight on their phone.
Exactly.
They didn't even think to use it. Instead, they're sitting there with the lighter.
I know. That's what I'm saying. Not even a flashlight.
Why wouldn't you have lit something on fire if all you had was a lighter?
Yeah.
I would have, like, at this point, it's life or death. I'm burning down my house. The sofa's going on fire. It made no sense. That was.
Yeah. And then when this entity or whatever monster comes out from behind the TV and grabs the little girl, walks her across the sky, and then slams her into the TV, right? And they get in the hospital. Somehow she's fine, but they get her into the hospital. And they're like, okay, let's go back. Oh, the little girl said, please don't leave me. Don't leave me. I'm going to go get dad. Can't you call dad? Where is dad, as a matter of fact? You shouldn't have to ever go get dad. Dad should have been there. His daughter is in the hospital.
Yeah, he's dead.
And then same thing when the older daughter then gets to the house and she runs in the room and sees that the girl, she gets to the house. She calls it, instead of opening the door and opening her mouth, because both of the girls apparently couldn't speak, she opens the door and then she just walks around in the dark looking for them. She does not call their names. She finally sees the light under, then she calls out to the girl's name, and then the girl says, prove to me that you are who you say you are. And she goes through a long story.
Something
The
about
girl
Chuck E.
opens up the
Cheese.
door. She doesn't see the dad. What does she do? I'm going to go find him.
Leave
Closes
him
the door.
again. Exactly. Exactly. Leave
Yeah.
your little kid for a grown man who should be able to take care of himself. He should have grabbed her. How come they never went outside? You know this thing is in the house. You know there's daylight outside. It's been sunny the whole movie. Take your ass outside. Like, why did they never go outside?
I was baffled. Baffled.
Definitely.
Oh.
And then what else
And
was
then she
there?
calls her dad and she says he's standing in the door. She calls him before he goes over the threshold. And she says, Dad, where are you? Are you at home? He walks over the threshold. The little girl's looking at something in the back. She never screams in his ear. Let me tell you, if you're holding me and there's something coming in the back, whoever you're talking to and the neighborhood is going to hear me screaming. Like, the little girl just looks. I would have been yelling in my dad's ear, get out. Like, what are we doing here? Back up. Why? Then it just snatches him away. He was useless. That I would never.
Useless,
Don't
but
bring me
again, I
that,
think
Dad.
that the daughters were kind of weird. So I've already
But at least they're
eviscerated.
daughters. He's a dad. Like he should
I
have
agree.
known. He's an adult.
Yeah, their
I
children
agree.
suffered a big loss. So them to not have
And
like
look at their role model. You expect them to be the way they are. He needs to do
Yes,
better.
I would. Yeah, I agree. I already talked about the older sister, but I am going to spend a minute on the younger sister because she was also equally weird. If you are in, there's not a child on the planet that's not going to scream if a door in their room opens up. It's just natural reaction. I would scream. She doesn't. She did not scream.
Think about
The
it.
door
Ian.
flew open. She did not scream. She didn't make a peep. Instead, she looks over at the door open. She sees something come out and go under the bed. Again, doesn't scream. She just
And then looks under the bed.
looks under the bed,
There's
then
no way
goes
in
to her
hell.
sister's room. She's all calm. She's watching the TV. She sees something again, doesn't scream.
I think she's used to not getting a response, right? Screaming in
Because
that
she's been
house is
abused since
useless.
birth.
Yeah, screaming in that house is useless. So she's like, I'm not going to scream. I obviously have to figure this out myself.
Which makes you
That's what she
wonder
does.
about the mother, because let me close this door. Sorry, guys. Because we know that the dad was a horrible dad, but the mother, like those girls didn't become that way the minute the mother died. Like they
Yeah.
were raised that way of
Yeah.
absolutely being fearful of expressing themselves to their own family members. So that to
Yep.
me said something weird about the mother too, because I just thought it was strange. I would scream. Adults would scream. If you're
Right.
in your bed and a door in your room flies open, just from the shock of it, even if you're not
Right.
afraid, just the
Right.
reaction would be like, oh,
Exactly.
nothing.
Exactly.
Not just
And
look
then
at the door,
leave.
immediate leave. You wouldn't
Immediately.
then go into
And then-
dark rooms, which
Yeah,
the little girl
that's
did.
just-
You said she
She
knew about
has-
the dark. She didn't, because she went into the living room and sat on that couch in the pitch black.
Well, no, I
Watching that-
think she didn't go into the living room. I think she was there with her dad, remember? And then he had to, he disappeared because that's when the girls' party was. So maybe he was helping with, I don't know what he was doing, but he
I
disappeared.
don't
as
know
he's-
either, but turn
He's
on the light.
MIA. He's been
Yeah,
MIA
turn
the whole
Turn
movie.
on the light. Your dad's not in the room. You're old enough.
I don't
you know
think
to
they
turn on
paid the
light.
electric bill, or maybe they don't have lights and it's lanterns. I don't know, because obviously there were no lights in the house.
Well, then I would be up
Except
in
for the
my
Christmas
sister's
lights.
room. I'd be banging on my sister's door, and I would be telling those other girls, "Take me with you when you leave." The family doesn't. I just felt like it was just that part
Oh,
felt like it's
Mean
forced.
girl. I would have pushed the mean girl in the closet because she was just very mean. The blonde girl.
Oh, she got what she deserved. I would have slapped her in the face too.
That
Yeah,
was a long time ago. But you know what's weird? Like I didn't get so I don't know how the tooth got in the girl's body,
Yeah.
how she coughed it up. Maybe it was, I'm trying to think when she had that dream. Remember she had the dream that something was going down her mouth? Was that before or after the party?
I think it was before. I thought
Before the
maybe
party.
that's
Yeah, it
how
was
it
before the
got there.
party.
Then that's probably how it got there. Maybe it wasn't really a dream, but
That
she
could
thought
be.
it was. Yeah, because I'm like, how did that tooth, the girl's tooth with the string, get in there into her body? And how come when that happened, here's what mom used to do. And the door slams and all they go is, I'm sorry. What?
Because these girls have been drugged since birth. They had no reaction to anything. It was the first time that the older sister showed any emotion was during that party with the little thing with the friends, and she pulled up the tooth. That's the first time she showed fear on her face.
Yep.
She was scared then. She was
Yeah.
terrified. And I'm like, really? The mold, the what you saw, the voices, that didn't scare you? It took the tooth. It took the tooth. Like, come on.
Yeah,
Again,
but
one strange thing happening in your house. It happens to us all the time. It's just one strange thing happening in your house. You can
but
ignore
even
it.
that is in the back of your mind. Every time you walk by that one spot, you think, well, that's where I saw that. Let's see if that happens again. Like you know what I mean? You will not forget that incident. You just don't.
I agree. But two strange things happening, three strange things happening. Houston, we have a problem. Like, you can't ignore it anymore. They
Right.
just were like, nope, no, nope, I'm not. Nope,
They were
I know I can't. Just walk around with the lights
That
off.
vitamin D deficiency, they needed the light. They weren't getting enough light in the house, so they were deficient.
That explains how lethargic they were.
There you go.
Because I was just like, these are, I mean, I don't have children, but my nieces and nephews would not have been that calm. I've been to Disney World with them. When the lights go out on the, getting into the rides, they were freaking out.
I bet they
like,
were.
Come on.
Yeah. Seriously.
I bet they were, Baldy.
I
Yeah.
they were just so.
They just haven't had like fear instilled in them. They just don't know what fear. They don't know when it's time to be afraid.
But that is
Like
that says that no, fear doesn't have to be instilled in you. Fear has to be beaten out of you, because we have a fear of flight. What is it? Fright or flight?
Fight or
In
flight.
some people. Yep.
no, humans.
Not those
Primates.
girls.
Right,
Not
they
those.
don't, because like again, somebody pushed it out of you. Because that's just again, even if a loud sound, if somebody pops a balloon in your ear, you will react to it. And if
Right.
you don't, that's just weird. Those girls are like, oh, a balloon popped. Okay. Yeah, I think I just heard my dead mom's talking to me in the room. Womp. Like,
There's scuffling in my mom's office. That's chaos. Let's go see what it is, because I know I can take this.
yes. And the thing hates the
Right.
dark. Oh gosh, then let me go into the darkest basement. Let me try the light switch. It doesn't work.
Oh my
Every
God.
other 17-year-old would have dropped that box on the top of the steps and closed the
Another
door.
day. That's mom's shit. They'll be in the basement another day, because it would not be that day.
Nope, not her. She goes
not that
down into
day.
the basement,
Nope.
opening boxes, digging around. Again, here's something in the back. Doesn't go back up the stairs, goes further into the basement. That girl was so numb that part of it made me less afraid of what the movie like some of the jump scares would have been so much more fearful if she showed any fear, but she had no fear. And so it was hard to be afraid when your main characters aren't afraid. So that to me, and I don't know if it was if they were directed to act that way, or because I don't think it was an acting thing. I think the girls were both amazing actors, but they were just too numb to make it scary. Because how can I be afraid for you if you're not afraid?
True.
I was definitely. I was like,
not afraid.
Now.
I was definitely. If I'd have been like, I was just yelling, "Get out! Just run!"
Run,
yeah.
get
Even
out.
for him to turn around, like I didn't know the guy was going upstairs to hurt himself. When I initially saw the movie,
right?
I was worried. Like, is he going up there to hurt the kids? Like, is he?
That's what I'm saying. That is your home.
With the monster, like, is he also? Because just because you have a boogeyman doesn't mean that suddenly there's no like human real monsters around. Maybe he did.
DCYF, because that was their home. That was their home. He just allowed anything to
His
happen.
home office should not be like connected where the children are, because if he's a therapist, chances are he is dealing with people who have serious issues. And now
Exactly. So
actually
you
an
would never turn
excellent,
your back on them, ever. I got to go
that's
to the
an
bathroom. That
ex,
shit can wait. Just get
that's
them
an
out of your
excellent
house.
point. They should never have access to your home. You should be able to lock
Exactly.
that room.
yeah, should have
He
been
just
totally.
walked through. Yeah, he
Exactly.
just didn't
Instead, he
care.
gets up to say, I got to go to the bathroom and disappears in a dark kitchen with his back to the wall and
And,
is
and of course, since he doesn't
surprised.
even recognize he has children, it never occurred to him that they might finish school and come home.
Oh, no, what kids? Yeah, I don't think he
It
knew.
was just, I was so annoyed with that, with the father. My eyes were, I was like, somebody please call CPS on this man. This is child
Oh,
abuse.
yeah, of course it is.
Which is
Of course
horrible.
it's horrible. And then, so I still don't understand the whole entity. How do you think it got there? And why was it in the therapist's office at the end?
I do think that the entity somehow like was attached to that, to Lester, and
Oh,
Lester brought it into their house.
but it was at Lester's house at the same time it was at Sadie's house. Like that's what I'm saying. How do you,
No, because we don't know
yeah.
that. Oh,
Yeah,
you mean
remember?
because of the, oh, but you're right. Oh,
But
good
so
point.
so
So,
that's what I'm saying.
So
Like,
maybe
how does
it
this
attaches
work?
to multiple people. Like once it's attached to you, it stays attached to you, but it can add attachments to other
So
people.
it
maybe.
duplicates itself because it's the same thing.
Well, I mean, it can't be. There's 8 billion people. There can't be one boogeyman for all 8 billion of us.
But it's the same one, is what I'm saying, right? So like I don't know. That's I was just trying to figure out how does that work? And then how does it so attach itself to Sadie, maybe? And she brought it to the therapist?
Maybe. Yeah. Maybe
Because
it
I
is
was
like
thinking the
that
only
you
way
can't.
it would stick is if maybe you are internally traumatized about something and you're kind of manifesting it. But then the therapist, she was so insignificant that it was hard to see why not her friends? You know what I mean? Why didn't they
Well, maybe
attach
he's
themselves to
hanging
her
out there waiting
friends?
for the next loser to come in and have problems. You know, that's a great place to hang because there's gonna be more people that come with a lot of issues. Like if not wanting the therapist, wanting the people who come
Oh,
to
you
see
know what?
them.
Could have been. Remember when they turned off the lights and the girl saw it in the dark, but she'd already seen it. Remember, she saw it in the therapist's office.
But she's a child therapist, right? So she's gonna have children
You know what I'm
there.
saying? Maybe I don't know. Like I don't understand how it's everywhere. I just
Well, I thought that the boogeyman, though, at least Lester made it seem like the boogeyman is only interested in kids. But to your point,
yes.
if he's only interested in kids, why did he hang around after the kids were dead and haunt the widow?
Right. And then the therapist.
The therapist I could see, because if you're already in the house, you're just anybody in the house, you're like, you might see. Because he didn't, they didn't, the boogeyman didn't go after the father. The father just happened to be there, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Right. The boogeyman was targeting the kids. At least that's what
In
Lester
that
made it
house, yeah,
seem.
I don't understand though. But then it went to the therapist, the female therapist. Remember at the end, the door was open because you knew you got the sense that it was
Oh,
in the
oh,
closet.
but
Yeah,
I didn't assume,
because she's
I didn't.
so she's going to have children there. She's going to have a multitude of children coming in. That's why I thought that's why he took his kids to her because she specializes in children.
I assumed that the open door at the end was that the boogeyman was still attached to the older daughter and not had nothing to do with the therapist. It was just luring
Oh,
the daughter back in.
But I love that she closed the door and she was like, I'm done with this thing. Like maybe you need to, shun it. And I mean, you would think not being afraid of it would have been enough to make it leave a long time ago because they never seemed to run from it. I would have took that as lack of fear. They were really like they were trying to confront it. But I thought that was like signifying that she was like no longer afraid of it. But I think he was hanging out there because if he can't get her, there's going to be other children coming in through there. I mean, I think like overall as the movie, I thought the movie was pretty good. I think it dragged at certain parts. I liked it. When we break it down to like simplistic, like or realistic expectations of how people would act, it fails miserably, miserably. How a parent would act, how a natural like person thinks a psychotic person maybe around, they don't face the opposite direction if they even stay in the house at all, which I myself would not. The cordless would have been outside with me calling the police or somebody to come get him. Him peeling away at that pencil definitely had me feeling like, is he going to attack me with this thing? Why is he peeling with, like, sharpening the pencil, more or less? So when we pick apart things, it fails miserably. But when I felt like when I was watching it, I wasn't really thinking about that, and I got involved in it. Although the father was so bad, it was hard to ignore the fact that he just wasn't present for his children who just lost their mother, and whatever he's dealing with, it has to take a back burner when you're a parent. You have to deal with your stuff, later, and you have to make sure that your kids are okay. And if they come to you and say, that, like, stuffed animal is haunting them, you should put some, like, validity. I'm sure you feel that way. Like, you don't like, hey,
Acknowledge.
take the doll.
Knowledge.
Take the doll. Oh, he's talking to me. Stop talking. Stop. I didn't mean to squeeze him. I guess if I squeeze him, he talks. Yeah. You don't, like, force. That's not how, I don't think any therapy works. Just shock therapy, maybe. I've seen people on TV say they were afraid of tinfoil, which I didn't know that was a thing. And they surrounded the woman with tinfoil, and I thought she was going to go in cardiac arrest. So I didn't really know that people have a fear of tinfoil. That's interesting to me. But I'm sure if you're trying to face your fears, you do it gradually, and you don't do it like in the first session. But I do like that.
Definitely don't do it without the parent being.
Oh no, definitely
being there. And
right.
if the minute you see distress, you should back up.
Oh,
they just
definitely.
ignored
Exactly.
the poor girl's.
Right.
She was terrified. How could you ignore a
peed.
terrified child?
Right, she peed, so she was definitely terrified. I felt
Exactly. And they just kind of just like, oh, you'll be okay. It's okay. No, it's not okay. I just pissed on myself because I'm traumatized. It's not okay. It's not like I do this every day.
I want to know where she got
They
that
didn't
ball
take
from,
it
though.
seriously. It wasn't that so cool.
That's cool.
Oh, you can get those on Amazon. They're pretty
Really?
popular.
Really?
I want those.
Globe lights. They're called globe lights. They've been out for a long time.
Really? I mean, I don't know what I'm going to do with it, but I would love to have those, especially at Christmas. Like, maybe put
Listen, I'm turning my lights on, so I don't need one, but I thought it was cool.
Yeah, I'm paying my bill, which made no sense, because I'm like, first of all, we all know it's more expensive to buy 1,000 candles than it is to pay your light bill. Candles are expensive. Pay your light bill, turn on the light, and you won't have to buy 1,000 candles.
Right.
Even at the Billings house, she knew the deal. Why didn't she turn the lights on?
That's what I'm talking about, the Billings lady. Why did she have 800 candles?
I mean, I thought that was so unsafe. I'm like, you're going to kill yourself in here, first of all. But I felt like she wanted it to be somewhat dark so he would come out so she could shoot it. But I mean, she didn't even know if that was a way to kill it.
Okay, you could have one dark room.
Yeah, true.
Use that as your test. Yeah, exactly.
Oh
one
my
dot.
God. Hit the girl and tied her to the pole. I was like, wow, you are really ruthless. That was like such a rot. I'm like, she's using her as bait. What a rotten thing. You don't kill it, or if it doesn't work, then what? The girl just.
I think she knew that. I think she knew that girl was Iron Man, because that girl went through that trauma again, runs to her house, doesn't turn on one light, just walks into the dark, doesn't even say, hey, is anybody here? So, I mean, she knew that girl was special.
She knew she could tie her to the pole and nobody would care. Oh my God.
No, the girl wouldn't care. The girl wouldn't care. I'd have been pissing and shitting myself so badly. You would have untied me just to get me out of the house.
Yeah. Get this stinky ass out of here.
I would have started kicking away at that wood. The whole house crumbled down. I would not have been.
Listen, the minute she tried to tie me, my legs would have been locked around her neck and body like nobody's business.
Yeah,
We're both going to get got.
He's going to eat us both. Yeah, true.
Be like a barrel full of monkeys. Boom. You are not going anywhere.
Yeah, right. Oh my God. Remember that barrel of monkeys? That was hilarious. Yeah, so I would probably give it like a 2. I don't know, a 2.
Oh, we went over.
Yeah, I'd probably give it a 2.
I would still, believe it or not, I would say for the masses, it's worth watching. Go
Oh, yeah.
see it.
Worth
You
watching.
know, my little, my
Yes,
little
I would
things
agree.
that bother me won't bother other people. And I do think Rob Savage is an amazing,
Amazing.
yeah. So I think he's going to get better and
Yes.
better. I would
Yeah.
still give it a 3
Oh,
because
okay.
every movie is so dumb these days that you got to factor in some of that.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, the scale is up to 5, so I'm trying to be
Correct.
like, I'm putting it like where, where I put the other movies. I feel like I'm always closer to the end of 5, where I went to the theater and saw it when it came out because I am a true, horror person, love the horror movies. I would say it's much better to watch on Netflix in your house with the lights down. It's not worth paying the movie fee to see it. But yeah, it's worth seeing. Definitely worth seeing.
I
Mhm.
definitely think it's worth seeing. Definitely think it's worth seeing. I mean, yeah, I would watch it. I would definitely watch it.
Yeah, I would
And I
give it a
might even
solid.
watch it again so I can have more more shit to talk about. No, but I mean, I would definitely watch it, and I would tell someone else, yeah, it's a pretty good movie. You should watch it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Definitely would
I
not
think it's
watch
for
it.
me.
It
Mhm.
definitely didn't suck. It didn't suck.
No, God, no, no,
No,
no.
a
I've
3
seen
for
some
me
of
is
those.
high. Not
Yeah,
high, but a 3 means that
it
I like the movie.
was high.
It is. So
Yeah,
yeah, I actually, it's worth watching. All of these little things are
the
just
nuance.
things that, yeah, they're just little things that kind of, annoyed me, but it didn't take away from the fact that it was a good movie.
Right,
Right. Yeah.
right. Yeah,
Yeah, I
yeah. I
agree.
would probably give it a 2.5 though. I would give it definitely a 2.5. Yeah,
It's not
So
bad.
2.5s and 1 3. Is that what I got?
that's what it sounds like. I
I
think
Punch
the
out. It was, yeah.
think I said 2. I
Oh,
think I said,
2. Oh, 2,
I think I
2.5
said
and
2. Yeah,
Wait, oh,
2.
I thought that's what you said. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I wouldn't be like, I wouldn't say definitely not 2.5, but I had said 2 because my scale is always like, since we go to 5 and not 10, because 5 is the norm, I feel like I'm always like 4.5. I did find it to maybe like not be as good as some of the others, but it had a plot. It wasn't bad. It dragged a little bit, but overall, it was worth seeing. So my 2 is good. It's a good 2.
So
I'd like to talk
your
about
2 is your 2 on your scale is like a good movie.
Anything 2 is like average. Anything
Average. Okay.
2
That's good
is,
to know.
probably not gonna like Candyman there. Not Candyman, Candy, Devil's Candy.
Yeah.
oh yeah,
Okay. Okay.
that
Yeah,
one.
3 for me is it's not really average, but I'm gonna use it as an average. So I would say it was an average. But again, I don't think people would be disappointed if they went to see it.
Oh, I don't think so. No, I don't think so. Mm.
And I think I saw somewhere that there's like an IMDb rating. I think it was 5 out of 10. So I think our scores are probably around what
Others have
those
thought of it.
ratings.
Oh, that,
Yeah, it seems
And
to
this
be
movie,
pretty much in
though,
line.
I feel like it had the potential to be a 4 or even a 5.
I agree. I think had the dad's role been a little different, that would have changed things tremendously. I
And
think
had
you know,
the children reacted more like children react, or even like humans react,
yeah, yeah,
it would have made it scarier. To me, it's scarier when people do everything that they are supposed to do and shit still happens.
right,
Like,
right,
imagine if you turned on the light and you said, you know what, I'm afraid of what's in the closet, so I'm going to leave the light on all night, and something still came out. That's far more
right,
scary
right.
than coming out of the dark. Because
Right.
right.
here
Or if
you're
the light,
looking at it
even if
coming
the
out.
light went off and something came out, just knowing that you took that step, right?
That the initiative
Yes.
be safe
Yeah, agreed.
because
So they didn't have
Agreed.
to dummy down the girls to the point where they were zombies to make the movie good. They could have made them, the girl could have screamed, the house was big, maybe nobody heard her. That's possible. The
right
older daughter walked around with headphones on all the time.
Oh,
all the
I
The
time.
couldn't.
father was absent. Like, the screaming was not going to ruin the movie, but it would have made it seem more realistic.
More realistic. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
So I wanted to kind of compare this one to Host, right? The last one that we did that was
Oh,
also by him. It was also about an entity, right?
yeah.
So, and I don't know what else he's done. But I thought it was interesting that for both of these films, as a viewer, there's some things you have to kind of assume that, this entity is getting from X to Y by, osmosis or whatever. People are manifesting that. And so I thought it was interesting that, that although they're different, they were very similar to me. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
that they both had this kind of entity that kind of well, I don't know how it got there, but it seemed to follow people from place to place.
Right.
That might be a Stephen King question. So having
Did
not
he
read.
do Host though? Did
Oh, I'm
he?
sorry. No. But I mean, that would explain, at least in the movie that we just saw, how that boogeyman was in multiple places all at the same time and all that kind of
Yep,
thing, right?
yep.
No, I was looking here. It says his next project includes directing a horror film adaptation of Night of the Ghoul. And then he's going to do a TV adaptation of The Last Days of Jack Sparks. So he's got 2 more things coming out, which ought to be pretty good.
What else has he done that's already out?
Not much, because he's so young. It says that he got his breakthrough when he co-wrote, directed, and produced the horror film Host in 2020. But now he was only born in 1992, so do the math. He was only, that's pretty young. He's only 28, right?
Yeah.
So he probably that was his first. And let me see what else he has. It says he did a movie called Strings, but I think that was when he was 13. So the Host was his first big one. Oh, he
Probably
did
with
Dash
his kids.
Cam.
Oh,
Whaley,
we
you
should do
saw Dash
that.
Cam.
We have to do
Did
that one.
you? We should do that one.
We should do that one
Because
next.
I
So
never
there,
saw it.
there are a couple of dash cams though. So which one?
This is the 2021 one. See if that's the one that you can't pull it up. Let me pull it up.
2021 dash. Yeah, we
2021
gotta.
Dash Cam. I think that's the one you told me to watch.
Is that the one with the girl in the back seat? I don't know. Like I said, there's a couple I think with that name. So we have to just, as long as we know it's, Savage, I think we'll be good. But yeah, that should be the next one.
Okay, this
All
one
right.
says
And then we can
Annie.
compare the 3. That would be really cool. We can talk about the 3 and how they compare.
Right.
It says Annie Hardy is a right-wing internet personality and musician who live streams out of her car.
Oh yeah. That
That's
is
it?
good. Have you guys seen that one?
No, that's what I said. You told me to see it. I
Oh,
haven't seen it. Yes.
okay. I will tell you, Annie, this character, she will rock your nerves, but be patient and watch the whole thing.
Oh,
I
okay.
will. I
Okay.
will.
So that's the next one. Dash Cam.
Yes.
Dash Cam. That's I like that.
2021.
And
Rob Savage. Yeah,
Rob,
that'll be great.
keep up the good work.
Yeah,
Keep up the
Exactly.
good work. I cannot wait to see your
Exactly.
next movies.
Yeah, he's
Exactly. We can review all of your stuff. Just
love it, love it.
and again, we're just being open and honest about about what we see. It doesn't always impact the ratings that we give a movie, but we just kind of notice things and we talk about it. That's what it's all about. And so we don't want you to take away from this that, we're nitpicking. We kind of are. But again, we're just pointing out things that we've noticed and we just want to talk about them, try to make
Right.
sense of the movies. It hasn't stopped us from watching anything, nor will it. So,
No, will
we
it?
don't want you to
It's what reviewers do, right? I mean, you read
exactly.
movie reviews, they nitpick about everything. I
Right.
mean, there's no, otherwise, every review would be 2 seconds long. I kind of liked it. I gave it a 3.
Right,
But you got to
exactly.
get into what
I mean,
you
You
liked
gotta
about
justify. Yeah, try
Yeah.
to justify your answers, which is what we try to do. Yeah.
it.
But in the
And it
end,
makes it fun.
like we've always found that his movies are worth watching.
Yeah.
It's not
Yeah.
like a waste of time at all. Definitely
And
fit.
Dash Cam. Oh my God.
Oh, I
I
can't
can't
wait.
wait. I might watch that tonight.
Me too.
Me 3. So maybe we do. Oh no, I can't do it next week. We'll have to do it the following week.
Oh,
Okay.
watch. I'll have to do it.
Do a girls talk, but we won't be able to do it that week.
All right,
Yeah.
awesome.
All right, guys. Well, thank you for joining us. We appreciate you being here. Baldy, Sunchild, you guys rock. Until next time, have a great one. Bye, everyone.
Bye.